Create with Fran Sydney. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. This is Fran Sydney. Welcome to Create with Franz, the show that is designed for you to create the life you want. And in the recent weeks, we've been talking about making videos, those special videos that will really touch the hearts of the people that you are interested in connecting with, whether we're talking about family, clients, or whatever, anything in between. It's so important nowadays to have our communication well honed so we can really say what we want to say in a clear way, and it can be helpful for us if we're doing marketing, but also in relationships, in business, and many other fields. So let's get going. Okay, so assuming that you've listened to the previous 6 or 7 episodes, so you've done all the research, you found out who you're actually talking to, who is the person, who is your target. You prepared an amazing message, and now you are just about ready to press the lovely red record button. So before you launch yourself into a very, very good full production with all the specs, here are a few things, maybe 6 of them, that you might want to avoid, and these are based on the comments the viewers make on the videos. And why would you care to know what to avoid? Because normally speaking, your listeners are much less likely to watch you or listen to you if you are presenting these 6, let's call them behaviors. And so rest assured that at some point in our life, we will all display these type of behaviors, a little bit here and a little bit there. So please do not feel like a failure if you recognize you've been doing something that comes from a list, because we're all just here to learn. I'm sure I do this all the time as well. Here and there I might do one of these 6 behaviors, and so you can just tell me, haha, Franz, I got you. I said, I know, we're here to learn. Let's do this together. But we're going to do this today. I'm going to list those 6 behaviors first, and then in the end I'm going to tell you what to do instead. So stay tuned and see what happens. Let's see what happens. For example, let's say that you're feeling quite shy. That's the first time you're doing videos, your first month, your first week, your first day. And so what you do, here's a camera in front of you. You're not looking into the camera. Instead, what you're doing is maybe you are frantically looking at your notes all the time, and you can hear all this shuffling like that. It's very, very annoying, but that's what you're doing because you can't think of anything else. And you're not establishing the all-important eye contact that people will do in a conversation. And so your video feels a little bit distant, and it makes it difficult for other people to understand you, to trust you, to know you, to get close to them. And so that is the number 1 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, whatever you want to call them. And actually there are 6, so my math today is doing great. So still assuming that you are in your first few videos, you might find yourself standing or sitting in such a way that makes you look really stiff or maybe unnatural or very posed, or maybe you're not breathing properly. There is something not quite right there. And you're not breathing properly because you can't even breathe. You're like anxious. And altogether it's not clear who you're speaking to, and it's all a bit like weird. So this is actually enough to disengage your audience. So there will be solutions to that, so keep listening, but that's a very, very typical thing in the beginning. Happened to me, it will happen to everyone. Don't worry, and move on to number 3. Okay, this is one that can be easily done by everyone. And that happens when we are ready to record and then we somehow completely forget who is our audience. And so what we're doing is we're doing everything perfectly, but then afterwards when we watch a video, we realize that maybe the voice or the tone, the content, the energy, the message are not really suitable for that type of person that we want to concentrate on. For example, let's say that you're able to speak in a very polished, reported BBC English accent. I couldn't even say BBC properly. There we go. BBC. I can pronounce English. Although I'm Italian, see? I can do that. But let's say that you can do a much better job than me. You are perfect and you speak really, really nice, like really aristocratically brilliant, like a teacher, English teacher. You're amazing. And here you are speaking in this perfect accent, and you're sporting an expensive designer suit. And you're showing your perfectly manicured hands. And at the same time, you're trying to convince someone to buy your children's book or to book a place maybe for 3 nights at your camping site for people who love animals. You know, it's all very good to look amazing, to be polished and to be properly, but who are you talking to is very, very important. So are you conveying that message properly? That energy, that enthusiasm, they have to be suited to the person watching you. Or it could be the opposite, and I saw this happening. Maybe you like using slang or slurred words or strange acronyms, maybe you're swearing, you're moving around wildly with loud music, you are just, very, very active, and then after doing your videos, which you think it was very good, then your friends tell you, well, actually, how can you impress those, high-flying professionals that you found on LinkedIn? You can't, because you're not displaying the kind of professional image that they probably would like to see. So if we just do 30 seconds, 40 seconds, going in the wrong direction because of the way we portray ourselves, which doesn't resonate, that is usually quite enough time for any person to switch to another video, because people don't seem to have much patience nowadays. So unless they are your dear friends, they will change channel. So keep that in mind. And as I said before, this could be something that I'm doing all the time. So I'm not here to tell you that you are worse than me or anything. I'm just giving you advice from the advice that I see all around from people who've been doing this for a longer while than me and you together. So let's go to number 4. Let's say that you are the expert in the field that you're talking about. Or maybe you think you are the expert and the top of expert. So you might end up by mistake lecturing people, or even worse, you might be calling them off, calling them ignorant in the way you're talking. You might be labeling people in a negative way if they're not doing what you are preaching. For example, if people don't exercise, you start labeling them as lazy people, but you don't know the reason why they're not doing it. But yes, here you are saying, oh, you don't exercise, so you must be lazy, and I'm gonna talk to you about that. It just doesn't sound very good, although it could be fun in some cases, but we're not Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, people who, when they speak, they have the kind of charisma and power. They can say things, but we're not them. So we need to calm this down, this kind of negative thing. And, you'll be surprised how many people do that. They are talking about something and they're judging everyone who doesn't do what they do or doesn't agree with them. So be a little bit gentle, and because our way is not always the only way. And just people in general, they do not like to be lectured, and they're not in a conference type of event. They're not in a university where they expect to see a lecturer. So just remember your settings and maybe have a little bit more humor, ask questions and things like that, and they will kind of help you to be calmer, more relaxed and more pleasant. And we're now going to number 5. So let's say that you have prepared a script, an idea, some bullet points, something, or even written a whole article word by word, because you want to avoid losing, your pace and forgetting the words, because you're just beginning. So you want to make sure you have something written there to remind you. That's fine. But sometimes by mistake we end up reading word by word every single thing that we have written, and the pauses are not very natural. This is not how people talk normally. So you want to make sure that you are speaking as if you were talking to somebody else. So you do need those little breaks, the breathing time, and also allowing the audience to integrate that message that is so important. Allow them to process it a little bit before you move on very quickly to the next bit that you're going to talk about. You want to build on what you started to talk about. So if you think that speaking really fast is going to make you sound more professional, I don't really agree. I think that if you speak too fast, it might feel kind of rushed, and for some people it will be hard to follow you, and some of those people will be not native speakers of your own language, so it might completely turn them off. Or even worse, you are speaking English and like me, you are a foreigner. And so if you are speaking really fast and you are a foreigner, the results could be terrible. Because we as foreigners, we make the other language sound a little bit like our own language because of the way we engage the jaw, the muscles, the way we touch the teeth or not, or the way we move the tongue, etc. So when we're speaking in an unclear way, but we're speaking slowly, there is a chance that people will understand us. If they like us, they will make an effort. But if we're speaking with a really thick accent that is hard to understand, and we're doing it really fast because we are trying to make it really professional really fast, we think it's best, then we could be unreadable completely as a message to other people who might thought that our content was very good. So just be aware that your accent makes a huge difference in the way you are understood. And I'll give you a very quick example. Last year, I bought a few very nice courses on Udemy because I wanted to learn about a very specific topic. And one of the courses had good ratings and they seemed to have really good professional content. So I signed up and I started the course, and to my great surprise, the person talking was not a native of English, and I will not tell you where it was from, but it was a really, really thick accent. It was really hard to hear, to listen to that. It was tiring to try to extract the words. And the person was speaking fast. Not only that, it was a woman, and she was also with a laptop. She was reading from her own laptop, and she was reading fast. So I couldn't really lip read either, and I really tried my best because I absolutely wanted to do her course, but I just had to give up. I just could not understand her. And that was such a shame because I'm sure her content was magnificent. However, it was not for me. So make sure that people don't have to say, this is not for me. When you are talking, make sure that your speed is matching your audience. And remember that if we say, oh, but I'm not too bad, just remember that on YouTube, the majority of people do not give you even 2 minutes. They just turn off, they go to another video, and then your algorithm will go down and you will not appear into the searches. So it's actually quite important that people will remain with you after those few minutes and will watch the entire video. So make sure that you are making an effort to improve in this area if it's not polished up yet. And I have to say, I'm speaking from experience because I do have my Italian accent. I probably will never lose it. I don't have a voice coach or anything. And so I have to remember to speak slower and to put good notes so people can catch up when something I said was not clear. Apologies if you don't get it, just let me know if I'm speaking still too fast. And the last bit is that your voice is monotone. So there is no change of speed, tone, or vibrance of a voice, and even you're getting bored when you listen to yourself. Your audience might still listen, but who knows how much they will actually pick up? Does it sound like that a little bit? They might just switch off. They might think of something else because monotonic sounds are excellent for hypnosis, for relaxation, for going to sleep. They're not excellent for an enthusiastic, inspiring video that you want to share with people so that they can take action. There is an exception to this, and this is if you are born deaf or have become deaf very early, so you don't really have chances to do voice coaching, and so for you it's very, very hard to tell if you are monotone or not. And so I hope you understand it's not my intention to say, this is going to be terrible for you, but yes, some deaf people will sound always speaking like that because they cannot hear. Yes, that's true, but that's a different type of monotone voice and I actually quite enjoy it. Having spent so many years in the deaf community, I just love it. So it doesn't really make any difference for me, and it's a different type of monotonic voice. Okay, now that I completely destroyed all your confidence on making proper videos, and this all sounds like doom and gloom, and it's terrible, isn't it? But you have to realize that many videos are displaying 1, 2, or 3 of these behaviors, and probably my videos also have one of those here and there. So what can we do is trying to process this and be just careful that we don't come across as very heavy to listen to. So there are 6 points that I can give you so that we can avoid the problem from the beginning. Number 1, please look directly at the camera in front of you. Just imagine if there is a person right there in front of you. So gesticulate, move, and pretend the person is there, put a photograph or something. And as such, you will move your eyes to the right, to the left, look at their forehead that is not there, but you imagine is there. So this really has to feel like a conversation between you and them. So your eyes will tell a story. They will get the connection. Don't stare all the time. You have to, be very, very natural. So that one is something you can achieve with practice, and you can do this. My second suggestion is to imagine that this person that is your ideal client or ideal person you want to connect to is there because there is a problem and you want to solve this problem. You want to help this person to help the problem. So how are you going to talk to them? You want to visualize this person. What do they look like? How are they going to listen to you? So your tone will really change if you are talking to a different person in a different situation. For example, if your message is talking to a bereaved person who has lost somebody, it's not the same as to talk to an investment specialist who knows all about the internet and how to go on stock and shares. It's just a different way of talking, isn't it? If he's stressed, he's talking about stress. It's not the same thing as talking about romantic stuff or talking to a teen who likes maybe to get into music. So you want to sit comfortably, you want to stand without shuffling between your two legs, keep the focus on the client, and just imagine how would you talk if you were talking to a very, very ill person and you want to make me feel great. It's a bit of acting, isn't it? You have to get that emotion, and when you have emotion inside you, they can feel that emotion in your message, and that is great communication. That's my point of view anyway. So going back to, the message and how we're going to give it to who, you really want to make sure you match your content, your voice, your message, your energy, the volume of the speech, the type of fonts you're going to use, the speed, everything to the person that you think is going to listen to your message. Don't worry about the others. Just think about this person. Will they understand your slang or your acronyms? What is it? So show that you understand them. You are living in their world. And so talk in a way that will resonate with them. You don't want to be like a foreigner coming in and lecturing them. You are at their level. You're talking to them with a reassuring voice, comforting voice, or inspiring voice, whatever they need. So that was number 3. Let's go to number 4. So this is about using a different type of sentence. They want to be warm, they want to be welcoming, they want to be affectionate, depending on what you're going to talk about. They want to be inspiring, something that people want to share and is well read. And everything is about avoiding the kind of environment like being in a lecture at university where the professor talks and you can't say anything because he's the one that knows everything. So you want to be able to ask questions, or if it's appropriate, you might want to use humor, and you want to address the audience as if you were a good friend of them, a very wise friend, but still friendly, unless maybe you are doing some kind of very high CEO type presentation. Maybe that can be a little bit more polished and professional, but just go down to that level and stay there. Okay, we're now going to number 5. So what I would love you to do is to practice the message you have in front of a mirror. Record it many times, 100 times, until you are sounding natural, until it sounds like you're just talking normally. So this means that you want to breathe normally, speak at your normal speed, unless you usually speak too fast, and that will make it a little bit hard for other people, as we said before. And instead of waiting until you press record to speak, start speaking before that. say a few words of whatever whatever comes to your mind, blah 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 blah, and then start the recording, and it will flow better. This little thing I wanted to give you. And another little thing I wanted to add is to record all your session in one go, in one setting. Why? Because your voice will change a lot during the day, and when you will be collating beats here and there, something I recorded today, something yesterday, something at 10 o'clock, well, it will sound very disjointed. And I know that there are reels and short stories where this is gonna be okay and typical, where people really are slicing the message in small bits, but it's not really very, very organic. I don't really like it for a professional thing. And I think if you have an overall tone, level of music, volume level that is always, very organic, that will help your message to be better. Then you can disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. That's the whole point of having a podcast. You can't really disagree while I'm talking to you, because we're not live. But you can always write a comment and say, oh, actually, Franz, I really disagree. I would love to add my view, and I'd love to hear it. Please send me messages if you disagree, if you have another point of view, so I can add it to my next episode. That's the whole point, isn't it? And last, number 6. Please take some time to listen to professional speakers. Those that are really good, TED Talks and whatever else that you love listening to, that has to do with your field where you want to excel. So notice how your way of speaking differs compared to them. Not because comparisons are good, but you want to aim for something there. What do you like in these people? How are they portraying themselves? How are they standing? How are they moving their head from the right to the left? How are they carrying their voice? So you really want to calibrate how you're able to use your voice so that your voice sounds pleasant and not forced. And if you realize that if you just talk for 15 to 30 minutes, you're getting a sore throat, then my suggestion would be invest in yourself. Hire a voice coach, a singing coach, and it is very possible that the way you are talking is giving you a harsh pain, and you might have to modify the way you're breathing and the way you're using your muscles to project the voice forward. So it's not about sounding loud, but about knowing where that voice is coming from, and there are lots of techniques. There are very good people on the internet, on YouTube, that will show you how to breathe properly and how to take your time. So when you're giving the message, you want your throat to feel amazing, not to feel strained, and you do not want to lose your voice. If that's happening, a voice coach will be amazing, because he will tell you straight away what you can improve, and that will be amazing for you, because it will add richness to your voice. And any voice can be improved, even if you don't have an amazing voice, but if it's trained, it will show. And I think that there is nothing more pleasant than to listen to this lovely, smooth and natural voice that is very vibrant and that is harmony with the message that you are giving. And some people will see, oh, I love, watching the lady, they are giving recipes, and I explain to them because her tone of voice is magnificent. And that's the thing, you will love that. So why not making a little extra step? If you realize you're having a sore throat or that you're not breathing properly, reach out to a voice coach. I wish I could maybe recommend one for you, but I don't know of anyone personally. So just look around and find one, and maybe just a couple of hours of work will be very, very useful, and you will be talking better, making wonderful recordings, and you will be so thankful to this coach. Well, and that was it for the day. You will never know that I had to stop this recording so many times because airplanes were coming and motorbikes were coming, and the traffic here on the A47 was loud. It was terrible, but I just kept talking to keep the voice on the same level all the time, and I wouldn't just do it later. And actually in a rush to to go to an appointment, and I hope I'll make it in time. So I'm gonna say thank you so much for being with me. I hope that this episode was useful for you, and if it was, why not press it just like, share, and maybe write a review so it can help me to get my message to more people. So thank you for being with me, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye. You have listened to Create with Fran Sidney.